Think about the 5 people closest to you right now. Really think about them, because what I am about to show you might completely change how you see them forever. You have that one friend, always around, always supportive, always saying the right things. But somehow every time you get close to something great, a promotion, a new opportunity, a better life, something goes wrong. And that friend is always nearby when it happens. Interesting, very interesting, because here is what psychology tells us about the people closest to us. Some of them are not rooting for you, they never were. And the darkest part, they might not even realize it themselves. Today we are going to expose exactly who these people are. And by the end of this video, you will never look at your friendships the same way again. Before we get into the signs, let us talk about what science actually says about the people around you. A Harvard study that followed people for over 80 years found one single factor that determined whether people lived happy, successful lives more than wealth, fame, or intelligence: the quality of their relationships. Not how many friends they had, the quality. Because here is the dark truth: a bad relationship does not just make you feel terrible, it physically rewires your brain. Psychologists call it social contagion. The behaviors, mindsets, and energy of people around you literally transfer into your own psychology over time. You absorb their limitations, their fears. Their ceiling becomes yours, without ever realizing it is happening. Research published in social psychology journals found that spending consistent time with negative or toxic people raises your cortisol levels, that is your stress hormone, and keeps them elevated even when those people are not around. Your brain starts operating in a permanent state of low-level stress. Decision-making becomes worse, ambition quietly fades, and you start settling for less without understanding why. The people around you are not just affecting your mood, they are affecting your biology. Sign number 1, the dream killer. You know this person. Every time you share a new idea, a new goal, a new plan, they have a reason why it will not work. They call themselves realistic. They say they are just looking out for you. But here is what psychology tells us about this behavior. It is called projected limitation. People who have given up on their own dreams unconsciously cannot stand watching others chase theirs, because your ambition reminds them of everything they stopped believing in for themselves. So they disguise their insecurity as concern, and slowly, consistently, they convince you that your dreams are too big, too risky, too unrealistic, until you stop sharing them altogether, and then stop having them. Studies in motivational psychology show that having even one consistently negative voice in your close circle reduces your likelihood of pursuing major goals by up to 40%. One person, 40%. That is not a small number. That is nearly half your potential quietly stolen by someone who calls themselves your friend. Sign number 2, the celebration thief. Something amazing happens to you. You got the job, you hit the goal, you finally made it happen, and you run to tell your friend, and they say congratulations. But something feels off. The congratulations feels hollow. They change the subject quickly. They minimize what you achieved, or they immediately bring up something negative right after. This is called benign envy turning malicious. Psychologists identify this as one of the most common, yet least talked about toxic behaviors in friendships. On the surface, everything looks supportive. But underneath, there is a quiet resentment that cannot genuinely celebrate your wins, because every win of yours feels like a reminder of their losses. Here is the psychological reality. Genuine friends feel what researchers call compersion, genuine joy at your happiness and success. If someone consistently struggles to celebrate you, if your good news always seems to create a weird energy, if their congratulations always comes with a but, that is not just personality. That is psychology telling you something important about where you stand in their heart. Sign number 3, the comfort zone enforcer. This one is the most dangerous because it looks exactly like loyalty. This friend is always there, always consistent, always pulling you back into the same routines, the same conversations, the same places, the same version of yourself you have always been. And anytime you try to change, new habits, new ambitions, new social circles, they make you feel guilty for it. They say you are changing like it is a bad thing. They remind you of who you used to be. They make you feel like growth is betrayal. Psychologists call this the crab bucket mentality. Put one crab in a bucket and it will climb out. Put multiple crabs in and they pull each other back down every time one gets close to escaping. No single crab is consciously trying to trap the others. They are simply reacting to movement, to change, to someone daring to leave. Some friendships work exactly the same way, not out of malice, but out of fear. Because if you change and succeed, it threatens the entire dynamic they have built their identity around. And unconsciously, they will do everything possible to keep you exactly where you are. Sign number 4, the energy vampire. Every single interaction leaves you feeling exhausted, drained, heavy, like you just ran an emotional marathon. The conversation is always about their problems, their drama, their needs, and somehow you always leave feeling worse than when you arrived. Psychologists have identified this pattern as emotional parasitism. These people unconsciously feed off your emotional energy and positive attention. They are not intentionally trying to drain you in most cases, but the effect is the same. Your mental and emotional resources, the exact resources you need to build your future, are constantly being redirected into their bottomless pit of need. Research in emotional psychology shows that consistently draining social interactions reduce creative thinking, problem-solving ability, and motivation significantly. The hours you spend managing their emotional crises are hours not spent building your own life. Multiply that across weeks, months, years, and you start to see exactly how much of your potential has been quietly consumed by people who never had enough of their own. Now, here is the question you are probably asking yourself right now. If these people are so toxic, why do we stay? Why do we keep these friendships even when we know something is wrong? The answer is deeply psychological, and it is called trauma bonding mixed with familiarity bias. Your brain is wired to find comfort in the familiar even when the familiar is harmful. Change feels dangerous. Loneliness feels worse than a bad friendship. And these toxic people are often masters at just enough kindness to keep you attached, just enough warmth to make you question your own instincts, just enough good moments to make you forget the bad ones. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. Random, unpredictable moments of genuine connection mixed with consistent, subtle toxicity. And it creates one of the strongest psychological attachments known in behavioral science. The same mechanism used in gambling addiction. Your brain becomes addicted to the occasional good moment and keeps you coming back hoping for more, while the overall pattern slowly drains everything you have. So here is the uncomfortable truth Venom Minds exists to tell you. Your potential is not just determined by your work ethic, your intelligence, your opportunities, It is profoundly shaped by the people you allow into your closest circle. Every dream killer costs you ambition. Every celebration thief costs you momentum. Every comfort zone enforcer costs you growth. Every energy vampire costs you the fuel you need to build something real. And the darkest psychological truth of all, most of these people genuinely believe they are your friends. They are not twirling villainous mustaches. They are simply broken people unconsciously passing their brokenness onto you. Which means this is not about hatred or cutting people off dramatically. It is about awareness, about seeing the dynamic clearly for what it is, and making conscious choices about who deserves access to your energy, your time, and your future. If this video made you think of someone specific in your life, that feeling in your stomach right now is your psychology trying to tell you something important. Listen to it. Most people will watch this video and do nothing. Venom Minds is not made for most people. Subscribe if you know that includes you.